Ooh, yeah, it's the Titan. No, that's not my name. Hey, what's everybody? What's good, everybody? This is your man, the Titan Montezi, and I am here on the exclusive podcast, the best podcast. You will get anything wrestling, everything pro wrestling with my man Conrad. Make sure you guys tune in. Montezi, Swerve City, AVM. Let's get it going, man.
Not many in this can understand. This the podcast to show you who I am. Conrad Cushman, the legend in the plans. Please listen every day to the showcase. The opinions and knowledge that anyone can take. Showing you how it is done. Proving I am number one. What a legend becomes. This is now my time to show you that I am here. This podcast just to make it loud and clear. By the fans, for the fans. Not many who's here can understand everything pro wrestling. It can never be you. Listen to the podcast here for the people. The best show that's here, so listen in. Let the knowledge begin. The opinion and the lesson. Yes.
Welcome to Everything Pro Wrestling. Everything Pro Wrestling is a show by the fans, for the fans. I'm your host, Conrad Cushman, providing you exclusive content here on the audio podcast version of Everything Pro Wrestling. We have a review for Ring of Honor, Death Before Dishonor 2022. It is a new era in Ring of Honor. We have Tony Khan taking over Ring of Honor, and this was his first full-blown show where he was the person in charge. So it should make things very, very interesting for the future of Ring of Honor. A little bit before Supercard of Honor, before WrestleMania weekend, it was announced that Tony Khan had purchased Ring of Honor, a great acquisition. There were several people trying to bid on this, and Tony Khan won out the bid. So he bought himself a tape library from Ring of Honor, which is going to be a great asset to when AEW goes for like streaming deals and things like that. Tony Khan is setting himself up very nicely with content, and he has years and years and years of content going back to 2002 now. And it also makes sense because a lot of the Ring of Honor wrestlers work for Tony Khan now, and he has footage that he can pull from to make great video packages and such. Absolutely wise move, but it left a lot of the fans wondering, what is Ring of Honor going to be now? Is it not going to be what it once was? Is Tony going to change it? And some of these questions we still don't have the answer to. But one thing that I do think we have the answer to is Tony Khan's really going to put a lot into Ring of Honor. A lot of wrestlers were kept off TV who were meant to be just solely part of Ring of Honor. People like Brian Cage, Colt Cabana, several other people, we've been wondering where they've been, what they're doing. I guess it's all in Tony Khan's plan to do that. Some people wonder, is Ring of Honor going to be like a developmental type of system? From what Tony Khan said afterwards on the media scrum, it sounds like no, it's not going to be. It's going to be its own separate brand. But how much crossover are we going to get with all of this? Things to be asked, things to wonder. It's going to be hard to have great talent in Ring of Honor and not wonder what would happen if I brought them over to Dynamite tonight. Things to think of. If you guys want to give us a follow on any of our social media platforms, you guys can go over and tell me what you think of this Ring of Honor acquisition. If you guys follow me on Twitter at EPW Show, we are also on YouTube. Just type in Everything Pro Wrestling. And yeah, show us some love on any of the social media handles. There's a link, a drum.io link down below. You guys can find everything that's attached to Everything Pro Wrestling right in there. Now, before we get into this, one more thing I have to shill. Tomorrow, which is Monday, July 25th, 2022 at 6:05 p.m., me and Sean Hubbard from Hubbard Wrestling Weekly are going to be live covering part 2 of the retrospective of Ric Flair's career. I think it's going to be tremendous. We're going to talk about a lot of things that happened in the second half of his career. Some pleasant, some unpleasant. But I think you guys are going to want to make sure that you come on over and check that out. And it's going to be, we're doing this in part because Ric Flair's having his last match happening on Fight TV. So make sure you guys check that out as well. Let's talk about the pre-show that Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor had here. Let's talk about 0 Hour. Colt Cabana versus Anthony Henry was the first match to kick off this new era of Ring of Honor here. And Anthony Henry is part of the Workhorsemen, and Colt Cabana is someone who was stuck, I feel, in the Dark Order for way too long. There was an untimely passing of Brody, and it just kind of ruined all the plans, I think, that the group had as a whole. We were seeing things happen with John Silver and Reynolds. We were seeing Colt Cabana. It seemed like he had some goofballs in the group that he was going to end up feuding with or putting over. Something was going to happen. And sadly, Brody Lee passed away before all of these things could come to fruition. And it kind of just left a big void there. And Colt was stuck because the Dark Order had turned babyface from the tribute show. And moving forward, people loved the Dark Order. So they really couldn't boot out Colt Cabana because it was like, well, you were riding with this guy. You were down with the group. And eventually we saw him kind of fall back and fade away from TV. And some may say that's due to the signing of CM Punk. I'm not here to speculate on that. All I know is Colt wasn't on TV, and then it was told that he was being saved for Ring of Honor. So Colt's back into his home away from home, ROH. And in this match, it was a pretty basic match between him and Anthony Henry. Anthony Henry was accompanied by JD Drake. And during the match, we got some interference from JD Drake. I thought he looked really good on this as well. He was able to deliver a big forearm when the referee's back was turned, tried to help his partner get into this. JD and Henry ended up colliding into each other when Colt Cabana was able to sidestep them. And he ended up getting the win by hitting a moonsault from the top rope. Picture perfect from Colt Cabana. Excellent job right there. Colt Cabana gets the win for his squad. I was happy with this match overall. I want to see what Colt Cabana is going to do. I don't know if he's going to do more of the comedy wrestling, though, or what, because that was what I thought of when I thought of Colt Cabana from Ring of Honor previously. We'll see what's going to happen with him. Next up, we had the Shinobi Shadow Squad versus the Trust Busters. It was good to see Cheeseburger and Eli Isom, back on my screen. But the Trust Busters. Now, I heard Tony Khan is really behind these guys. It's Ari, formerly known as Ari Daivari, and he was in 205 Live in WWE. He's a good wrestler. And we also have Slim J, who has joined this. But I don't understand this group. Like, I didn't see them on Dark yet, so on AEW Dark, so I don't really understand why they're put together. And I know that there's another member joining them soon. I won't spoil who that is, but keep watching AEW Dark. I don't get this group though. Supposedly, I guess like Ari Daivari got like a trust that he was finally able to open up and get to. But why are they wrestling together? Why are they a team? And I don't know. It feels very Malibu's Most Wanted, if you ask me. It did not make too much sense, but we did end up getting a nice like back and forth offense in this match. I thought we saw really good stuff from each wrestler. So Cheeseburger, I thought, did his usual stuff, and I think he brings his unique offense. Like the one where he had someone basically like tied up in an octopus stretch, but he had his foot on his back and he was wrenching his arm back. I thought Cheeseburger got a great reaction for that. He's not a really big guy, hence why they call him Cheeseburger, right? And I thought he did good with that. I thought Eli Isom, his look is fantastic. The dude's got a huge upside to him, and I think that he's someone who I took notice of during the last days of Ring of Honor. And I thought that this dude could be a big star for them in the future. And maybe he still can be. So I'm a big fan of what they did with him. And the Trust Busters, I thought, excellent wrestlers. They even busted out some really unique and different moves, even like doing twirl arounds into like flatliners and stuff like that. I was like, okay, interesting. The Trust Busters ended up getting the wins here. Tony Khan likes the squad, so it's going to be on them to see what they can do. After that, we find out my boy is back in Ring of Honor. Prince Nana is back. One of my absolute favorites, because of a wrestling event one time in Buffalo, definitely told my wife to sit down and shut up, girl. So I absolutely love Prince Nana. And my wife was like, is he talking to me? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure he is. And her and Nana got into a back and forth, and I absolutely loved it. That's one of the better things about going to Ring of Honor shows. There's always some like back and forth chatter. You're able to interact with people. So very cool. So Prince Nana has announced that he has purchased Tully Blanchard Enterprises. So Tully looks like he's out. I don't know any backstory behind why. I don't know if this is a permanent thing or what they're doing here. But Tully Blanchard is out and Prince Nana's in. He's got the bread, and I've always loved it. And they are now going to be called the Embassy, like his previous group. I like it. Prince Nana's got a rich history in Ring of Honor. I've always enjoyed his work and everything that he's done. I think he's a great character to have in there. And Tully Blanchard, I don't know what happened here. I think I'll be interested to see what we can find out as far as what happened with Tully Blanchard in the future. But for now, this is the change. I like it. I'm here for it. We get the Embassy, as I've just dubbed them, which is going to be the Gates of Agony and Brian Cage versus Zayne, Blake Christian, and Tony Deppen. Now, in my opinion, this match was a showcase matchup. Knowing that the Embassy, we all went into this knowing they're going over. They did not save Brian Cage and the Gates of Agony for no reason. All right? They know what they're doing here with these guys. And they all look like $1 million. They can all wrestle. That's not the issue. It's kind of setting them up for success. To me, it was interesting to watch Blake Christian, Tony Deppen, and Zayne. These are three guys I think if I'm Tony Khan, I would like to have them for Ring of Honor. Tony Deppen is an absolute great independent pro wrestler right now. Zayne is someone who I thought WWE gave up on too early, and he's been everywhere from New Japan. He's just been working. I'd like to see him get another chance. And Blake Christian, the way he fired up in this match, he got people off of their feet. He did a lot of like crazy things, but people were into him. And I think you could even do a tag team with Zayne and Blake Christian. I think they would be a heck of a tag team. I know they may not want to do that right now, but they've got something here. And they all performed very well in this match, and I thought that they showcased what they could do and what they could do for Ring of Honor. They did an amazing job, but like I said, we all knew who was going to win this. The Embassy gets the W, and they know they're building Cage up. They got Jonathan Gresham also within the group. I don't know if things are going to be flipped around or changed because of that, but Embassy looks strong, and that's what you have to do for this group if they're going to be the number one heel faction in Ring of Honor going forward. In the last match on 0 Hour, we got 4 pre-show matches. Allysin Kay versus Willow. Dear wrestling fans, please urge Tony Khan to sign Willow. I don't know what we're playing around for here. I need the graphic. I need it to say it. Even if she's in Ring of Honor, we want Willow in wrestling. I want her to get this contract so bad. And Allysin Kay is an absolute dream as well to see in the ring. She's been wrestling in NWA. She was the NWA Women's Tag Team Champ for a while there. Willow got a great reaction from the crowd. I felt they are really into her. I'm not going to go through this move by move, but Willow ends up getting the victory here. There were some clunky spots at the end, so not too mad at it. I don't know what the miscommunication was or what happened, but Willow was able to hit a gut wrench, like Liger style power bomb, and gets the 3 count. I love that Allysin Kay stayed in like the power bomb position afterwards. She really did a great job in putting Willow over here and made Willow look like a big star. Hats off to both of those ladies. And listen, we're going to take a quick little break here, and we're going to get an ad from some of our good friends who also do podcasting. So stick around, and then we'll get right back into the main card of Ring of Honor, Death Before Dishonor when we return.
What's going on, everybody? This is Jesse Carter over at the Pro Wrestling Shoot podcast, and every Monday we release new podcast episodes over on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Along with me usually is James Pinard Jr., my co-host. Over on our show, you can catch original segments where our show is actually put together like a show. No, we don't just press play and start recording. We put some deep thought into our shows with our original segments, and right now we are currently doing our What If series. Come and check that out, as well as every Tuesday on YouTube we are doing live streams, and if we're not live streaming, we're posting videos with some good content on it. What can you expect from our podcast? Well, they say controversy creates cash. Maybe come and check it out and find out for yourself. Most of our episodes are can't miss. We try to give you the best entertainment possible. Come and check it out. Join our live chats on Tuesdays over on YouTube. Follow us on YouTube at The Pro Wrestling Shoot. Also, you guys can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, and TikTok at The Pro Wrestling Shoot, and on Twitter at TPWS Podcast. Once again, come and follow us on all of our social media accounts where we stay active every single day. And also, do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hop in our live chats. We love to hear your thoughts on anything related to professional wrestling.
Welcome back, everybody. Now, to the main card of Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor 2022. Ring of Honor wasted no time in kicking this one off. We had a Ring of Honor World Title match to open up the main show. It was Claudio Castagnoli, formerly known as Cesaro. You may hear me say that by accident on here. I'm still getting used to calling him Claudio Castagnoli once again. Versus Jonathan Gresham, who is the current Ring of Honor Heavyweight Champion. Now, there was a lot of wonder, like going into this. Originally, Claudio was going to be a surprise person to show up at this show. Bryan Danielson was injured, more on him to come. And it actually turned out that Claudio had to fill in for him when they did the Blood and Guts match, and they needed him for the Forbidden Door show to face off against Zack Sabre Jr. It changed a lot of plans that AEW had. But Claudio has been perfect for them. He has come in and crushed the game, swinging people on top of cages, coming in and just having crusher matches with Zack Sabre Jr. Claudio has done his thing, and I think this fits him so much better. I don't care what anybody says. Like, I think Claudio has absolutely crushed everything that he's touched. He has the Midas touch right now. With that, though, I saw a lot of people upset with Jonathan Gresham losing the championship possibly to Claudio because he's a Ring of Honor original. He's been going around and defending it. And listen, in this matchup, Jonathan Gresham put on some great technical wrestling. He did what he had to do in there. There was a huge height difference between those two. Not that that matters in the ring. They were both able to go out there and put on a pretty stellar matchup. But in the end, the competition in this one was done good, I thought. Claudio was still able to get all of his spots. He swung them. He hit the pop-up uppercut. Regal's putting him over on commentary, and then he wins with the Regal bomb. There was no kicking out of that. Cesaro was just muscling up in this match, and he did his damnedest to make sure that everybody knew. I thought overall it was a really good matchup between the two. I had a lot of fun watching this one. The best part to me was the celebration after. Claudio gets all the confetti that pops up, and he wins his first world title. That was the story going into this, that Claudio never won the big one. Claudio gets his opportunity here. He does the slide like when you win in football or soccer, as we call it here in America. He does the run around in the circle and slides. And the best part to me was showing Regal's face. And Regal had like the tear in his eye as he watched it, because that was his last match on NXT, Regal versus Cesaro. And I think there's a deep bonding connection between them. He fits the Blackpool Combat Club. And I thought Claudio Castagnoli deserved this, man. He never got to be the world champion in Ring of Honor. He never got to be the world champion anywhere, really. And it just boggles my mind how this never happened. And like I said, in AEW, him talking in sound bites, proving what he can do in the ring, giving this guy a fair chance, it's his time, man. Let Claudio rock right now. He's doing great, and I think we're seeing some tremendous stuff right here, and I love what we're getting out of this. The celebration was beautiful, and with Gresham though, now this was a note that I woke up to this morning. They had the match, and shortly after the bout's conclusion, Gresham deactivated his Twitter account. The octopus had been a topic of discussion on social media over the weekend, with some fans taking shots at like his height or on-screen character, which that's really not totally fair, I think, to just bring that up about him. I think we have to talk about him as an overall wrestler and not take shots, as this is saying. I don't follow Jonathan Gresham, nor do I follow his wife, Jordan Grace. So I don't know what's going on between these two. And I don't even know if they're married. I shouldn't even speak on that as well. But it's not confirmed as to why he kept his account deactivated, but something to keep an eye on. So, yeah, I don't know. If you guys want to, it's at the John Gresh if you want proof for yourself. The John Gresham, excuse me. And I have nothing else to say about it. I mean, I hope he's not upset about losing the championship. That's nothing to be upset about. I think Cesaro / Claudio, whatever you want to call him, I think he was the right guy, right time. It was the perfect storm. It just, Jonathan Gresham, to me, reminds me of the past Ring of Honor right now. And we need to start off anew. This show had way more fans than the last dying days of Ring of Honor shows. And I think Tony's trying to reestablish that Ring of Honor is a force within professional wrestling. I can't be mad at it. I can't. I thought it was the right call. Following up from that, we did get a Daniel Garcia promo. Him hyping up his match that he is going to have for the Pure Championship with Wheeler Yuta. And then we get to the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team titles, Dalton Castle and the Boys versus the Righteous. I did not think they were bringing these titles back. Vincent from the Righteous, I have not seen him walk around with the 6-man championships. I have not seen anybody bring up the 6-man championships. You dig? Like, nothing was happening with this. And I was like, okay, well, these titles are probably done. You know, nobody's using them or defending them right now. Vincent's in Impact. This is probably done and over with. He's in Impact. He's in Honor No More. Always fun to talk about some Impact wrestling. But this is probably done. And then we get this announcement on Rampage that they're having this title match. And I was like, oh, that's peculiar. Okay, if that's what they're doing, let's see what's happening. Well, Dalton Castle and the Boys, I thought, got a tremendous reaction at the last Battle of the Belt. So in my head going into this for predictions, I said they've got to be winning this whole thing, right? And I was not surprised to see that they put them in a position here to succeed. I thought out of the Righteous, I thought that the female who accompanied them, I thought she was very impressive with the spots that she had to do. I thought that Vincent was pretty good in the ring, but I like the look though of Bateman, and I thought Dutch had kind of like this. He's a big man, but he's able to go in there and just rock the best of them. Like, he could do some things that you were surprised at someone at his height and size could do. That's what this was. Castle started throwing the Boys on top of them. One of his gimmicks. I thought that they thought it was going to get more over than it did. I felt like the fans weren't behind it right away. They popped a little bit for it, and I don't know if it was the acoustics, but I'm going to talk about the fans a little bit more later. In the end here, though, Dutch did a big dive over the top rope, and Castle hits the bangarang on Bateman for the win. Absolutely love it, like the airplane spin into the front slam. It worked. And shout out to the guy who had the Ryback suck sign in the crowd. I don't know if we're going to see the Righteous back in Ring of Honor. I don't know. It's going to depend on what Tony thought of them. If it were up to me, I think you could pass on some of them unless someone has a new creative idea for them. I don't know if this group is going to last and work in Ring of Honor. And what's Vincent's status with Impact? That's another question that you would have to ask, I would assume, right? So I'll take the wait and see approach with this, but I didn't see anything that was very impressive. And I thought Dalton Castle and the boys were the right team to win in this one as well. We go backstage after to see Sanjay Dutt, and he explains why they're wearing all white. We just had a bunch of guys wearing all white in the match before. I thought this was kind of weird and confusing, but Sanjay Dutt explains that in his culture in India, they wear these colors when they attend a funeral. And then Jay Lethal cuts a promo on Samoa Joe, and he said that we're at death before dishonor, and you've already made your choice. And Jay Lethal is basically saying that he is going to defeat Samoa Joe for the world television title tonight. And this leads us to a match that I was looking forward to. I had dubbed this match beforehand the sleeper match of the night, that I think a lot of people don't know what they're really getting into. And it was for the Ring of Honor Pure Championship, Daniel Garcia, shout out to Buffalo, versus Wheeler Yuta. I went into this expecting a great match with technical wrestling skill because I've seen what they've done on IWTV 100. That's on YouTube if you guys want to see what that match is all about. These two just went in and they wanted to show what they could deliver. The Pure Championship is all about great wrestling. The rules to it are you can't punch to the face. You get 3 rope breaks. Once you've exhausted the 3 rope breaks, none of it matters anymore. They add rules onto pro wrestling, and they make it all about technical wrestling, which is what Ring of Honor was built upon. So it's very interesting to see what people can do with this. And it gives you different ways to kind of cheat or different outs in matches. And the championship can change hands by countouts and disqualification. Okay. So who is going to walk away as the best pure wrestler in Ring of Honor? This is really a beef between the Blackpool Combat Club and the JAS. And great wrestling. No rope breaks were used like for a long time going into this. At the 10-minute mark, we get them getting into like a really big slap battle. Remember, no closed fists, but you can slap somebody, and they are slapping each other in the neck. And I know that neck meat was tender after, man. They were smacking the hell out of each other, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And the fans were really happy for it, and the fans got up for that. They were cheering. During the match, though, we saw some tribute moves as well. Garcia puts the Regal Stretch on Wheeler Yuta, but then Wheeler Yuta is able to reverse it into a Boston Crab / Lion Tamer. I would actually say more Walls of Jericho, but he was able to do that until Garcia could get to the ropes. The first rope break is used for Garcia. These guys go back and forth, and eventually Garcia gets Yuta down. He grabs both of his arms. He's going to do the stomp, the Bryan Danielson stomps, as I like to call them, where he's holding your arms and stomps on you. Wheeler Yuta spits in his face. I absolutely hate that. Disgusting. Spits in his face, and then he goes to foot stomp him. Yuta ducks, rolls through, goes for a schoolboy, but then pins him with the seat belt for the victory once again that he was taught by the best friends. Absolutely smart. They have Yuta go over. You didn't see it coming because you thought they were going to use all their rope breaks and make this some big epic match. Didn't need to. Regal on commentary was saying, we've trained Yuta for this match. He knows what he needs to do. He can't get lost. And Wheeler Yuta caught him with a nice move. And I think this feud is not over. At the media scrum afterwards, while Yuta and Claudio were talking, Daniel Garcia showed up, and he basically was like, you beat me with a roll-up? That's what you call being a great wrestler? And they kind of got into it back and forth. And he was like, well, you know, I'm a sports entertainer, and I want to fight, and I like this. So I think that this feud is going to continue, and it's going to be wonderful. It's going to be wonderful. I'm really looking forward to seeing what these guys are going to be able to do here. Let's get into match 8 on this card, which was the Battle of the Brothers, Roosh versus Dragon Lee. I think Roosh has been a very good pickup for AEW since putting him with Andrade. Dragon Lee also looked really good in this match here. I can't believe how strong they made Roosh look in the early beginnings of this matchup. We even had a crazy spot where Dragon Lee launched himself like a lawn dart on Roosh, who was sitting on a table, and the table broke after. I don't know how they pulled that off, but it looked darn good. He dove through the ropes like a lawn dart, and they just broke the table. They're all down on the floor, and they both eventually get back into the ring. They slammed each other on the floor. They were like belly to bellies, using their momentum to knock each other. They do the whole, so in Ring of Honor also, I got to tell you guys, there's a 20 count. Shout out to Caprice Coleman for reminding us that him and Ian Riccaboni did great on commentary, in my opinion. They're counting 1, 2, and then they get to 18, 19, and then both guys dive back in. I still hate it, but the fans pop for it. I really can't say too much, but I'm just not a fan of it personally. It's one of those like things that just grinds my gears a little bit when I see people do it. I'm just like, why do you guys do this in every match? It's like the Tower of Doom. If you guys have been listening to me for a while, you know it's a pet peeve. It's just one of those annoyances that you got to deal with. Roosh had did some fake out with the bull horns a couple times, where his finisher, which is that drop kick in the corner, he hit Roosh with it, or he hit Dragon Lee with it, excuse me, got a close 2 count. Roosh then got hit with a double foot stomp from the trio woe position for a 2 count. Liger bomb on Roosh for another 2 count. And then Roosh hits the bull's horns for the second time, and this time he puts him away and gets the victory. Roosh had to win this one. He's dealing with Andrade, and I think Andrade really needs some wins. He's a valuable talent that I don't think AEW has fully capitalized on how to use him yet, and I'm hoping this feud with the Lucha Bros will really help all four and get them some more time and notice. I think the Lucha Bros are in a great position. I don't know why their tag title reign was so short, but interesting to see what's going to end up happening here with Roosh and Andrade in that feud. But he gets the win. I thought Dragon Lee looked good. If he's available, sign this guy, man. I feel like I used to see him all the time at all these shows a couple years ago, and then since the pandemic, I haven't seen enough Dragon Lee on my TV. So let's get him, Tony Khan, if you can. Shoot, I'm for it. Now, I'm going to take a quick break here, grab some water, and you guys are going to listen to an ad from my good friends at Everything College Basketball, and we will be right back to getting into the finish of ROH Death Before Dishonor 2022 review.
What's going on, EPW Nation? It's your boys from the Everything College Basketball Podcast, Josh and Peyton, here to remind you all that college basketball season is right around the corner. Yes, we finally know it's right around the corner, and Peyton, there's only one place people should go for all the college basketball excitement.
Well, Josh, the only place to find all college basketball hoops all the time is Everything College Basketball. Everything College Basketball can be listened to on several podcast hosting sites like Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. And we can also be found on our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/Everything College Basketball.
Yes, make sure you are joining the group with a couple other 100 people and growing by the day as we march into year number 3 of the Everything College Basketball networking system. Now, let's get back to Conrad and Everything Pro Wrestling.
All right, so getting back into this Death Before Dishonor show, we are up to the Ring of Honor women's title match between Serena Deeb and Mercedes Martinez. This was one that I felt didn't have enough build to it, enough for me to be super invested in. They did some tag matches, and basically the storyline was Mercedes Martinez was trying to do the right thing. Serena Deeb wanted to inflict more damage on her opponents, and eventually she turned on Mercedes and wants a match with her. Serena Deeb's been a great player coach, and I know that these two have time going all the way back in Ring of Honor, Shimmer, wherever you want to look. They're two excellent women's wrestlers. But I noticed that the crowd was very silent early on for this. I felt like they didn't really I didn't have the energy to cheer the women, or they didn't appreciate what they were seeing in the ring. Maybe Roosh and Dragon Lee like took the crowd out of it because they were really hyped for that match too. I don't know. Like, if you told me Roosh and Dragon Lee was your favorite singles match, I can't be mad at you. If you told me it was Garcia and Yuta, I can't be mad at you. But I felt like the women were put in a very bad position. We just saw 2 excellent matches Arguably the single bouts of the night, and even the next one that we'll get into was a really good singles match. But the crowd was pretty quiet. They focused on a lot of MMA style offense here with both ladies. Mercedes hit a nice spider German suplex off the top rope to Deeb, folded her up like an accordion from the top rope. Deeb hit a nice spinning fisherman suplex, and then she was able to lock in the Serenity Lock, aka the Tequila Sunrise. I thought we may see a tap there, but Martinez was the first person I think we've seen get to the ropes to escape that. So I was shocked. And eventually we then saw Martinez catch Deeb on the top, and she was able to get the OG drop, which is like a kind of razor's edge into a dominator where she bumps with you. And after that, she hits it, but Deeb kicks out at 2. I was in shock. And then I thought people started getting more into this. They were feeling it again. Like I said, that's why I'm going with the honest answer of I think their energy was just depleted at this point. They were down and out, but then we saw that surfboard dragon sleeper that Mercedes Martinez loves to use. And Deeb fights for a while. Like, they let her hang on for a minute, but then eventually she was done. And I thought she did a great sell job after the whole she gets like lifted up and she looks like she's just out on her knees, I should say, instead of feet, out on her knees, and she just plants right over face down. And they really made Mercedes Martinez look strong. And I love in the media scrum, Tony Khan did reiterate like that he's really behind her and has a lot of faith in the work that she can do for Ring of Honor's women's division. I like that. It shows some good faith. We'll have to see what we can get from them. I feel like something's missing with Mercedes Martinez's character. I don't know if it's an explanation of who she is. Like, I want to know more about her, especially to some of like the newer fans who may not know who she is. I want more from Mercedes Martinez. I just don't know what more is yet. Is it more character work? Is it more explanation of what she's doing, showing her training? I don't know, but I think that's something that we could focus in on and try to hone and figure out, well, how can we make people more connected to Mercedes Martinez, especially if she's going to continue going on as a babyface. I think that's something that we could definitely watch out for. Next up here, we have ourselves the Ring of Honor Television Championship match. And I think this match has been the most built up out of everything. Samoa Joe came in at the last pay-per-view Supercard of Honor during the main event and made his debut. A heel Jay Lethal ran off and scurried away from Samoa Joe, who was his former mentor and protege. If you are an old school Ring of Honor fan, you remember the two-tone tights Joe used to wear. Jay Lethal used to wear, because that was his protege. And there were times where Joe had to put Lethal in his place. And that's the story here. Like, that's what they were talking about. Who is better now? They've built this one up. Like I said, we've seen injuries to Joe. We saw the debut of Satnam Singh in the main event of Dynamite, which did not get the intended reaction that I think a lot of people wanted from AEW for that. But AEW, I think, has adjusted well. Satnam Singh has impressed from what he is there to do. I'm okay with it right now. And in this matchup, Lethal tells everyone, stay in the back. He's got this. Joe's music hits, and they start fighting in the aisleway. Lethal never got into the ring, and they begin to brawl. A lot of stuff's on the outside happening. Eventually Satnam Singh comes out and he starts helping Jay Lethal put a beat down on Samoa Joe. Apparently, since they never got in the ring, the match never officially started. And this allowed a lot of like hot garbage to go on the outside, which I'm okay with. Maybe they needed the theatrics. I don't want Joe getting injured at this point. He's a treasure. You got to protect this dude at all costs. Same with Jay Lethal. These guys have years on them now, and it's not like they're getting any younger. So protect these dudes. I was cool with this. I just thought the brawl went on for quite some time, and I was like, this is going on for a little bit here. And I wanted them to get in the ring. Apparently, since all that happened, and even the chair usage, they weren't in the ring yet. Joe's left arm is back to being injured again. The ref boots out Satnam Singh. He's not allowed to come back out there. They get in. Here we go. We got a match. Lethal's taking advantage of everything that he can. He's wearing down Joe. The Muscle Buster is attempted. It gets blocked. Jay Lethal goes for lethal injection, but he gets a close 2 count. I couldn't believe it. Sanjay Dutt comes down for the finish. He runs down and he brings the pipe that they've been using on Joe for him. And he has it in his hand. The referee stops him and takes it like, hey, what are you doing? And he catches him. But on the other side, he had already set up the television championship so that Jay Lethal could use it to try to get the win. Jay Lethal uses the title on Joe. Ref turns around. 1, 2, Joe kicks out. Beast mode. During it, he goes for another freaking lethal injection. I thought he was going to catch him with the clutch. He does. Lethal's able to escape it though, and he goes for an O'Connor roll. So that's the roll up, where you're like holding the guy's tights or whatever. Lethal goes for it, and this is one of my favorite ways to get in the coquina clutch. He does it. Joe grabs him and he kicks his legs out from underneath him and puts him in the coquina clutch, locks the tree trunk legs around him. Lethal has nowhere to go. All he could do is tap out because Joe's got him. And I love that. It reminds me of like him versus Punk. That was one of the first times I saw him do that, where he grabbed Punk by his bleach blonde hair and yanked him back into the clutch. So well done, dude. So well done. And if you've never seen Joe versus Punk 2, highly recommend it. One of my favorite Ring of Honor matches. But Jay Lethal, I thought, put on a heck of a performance here with Samoa Joe. I love seeing these two back together. This was really good. Like we said, Joe wins with the coquina clutch. People are happy. And I just thought it was a good move. And I like Joe being the Ring of Honor television champion at this point. Like I said, though, I feel like he's so valuable to AEW and Ring of Honor. I don't know if you can have an exclusive roster, because I want to see Joe, Danielson, and Punk face off, or as a trio. There's so many things you could do with these guys. And I don't know if it's going to be possible, but maybe Joe will be someone who can go back and forth. Afterwards, we find out that it's okay to welcome Bryan Danielson back to the show. It was announced during Comic-Con in San Diego that Bryan Danielson is returning to AEW. He was cleared as of today, and he's been out of action since late May. He competed in that Anarchy in the Arena match at Double or Nothing. That's in the archives if you guys want to hear me review that on YouTube and in audio form. It's believed he suffered a concussion during the match, and Tony Khan did not want him back in the ring until he was 100% fine. It was announced that he's going to wrestle on Wednesday night, and I actually have the rundown for you. And the crowd went absolutely crazy for this when they found out Danielson's going to be back. And I thought Ring of Honor was the best place that you could have announced this. Like, freaking dope. So here we go. Fight for the Fallen Dynamite, which we will cover live on YouTube. If you don't listen to us on YouTube, come on over, give us a subscribe, and check us out following the show at 10:05 Eastern Standard Time. Moxley is going to be going up against Roosh. We got Thunder Rosa defending the AEW Women's Championship versus Mayu Yamashita. That's going to be great. Shout out to TJPW. Definitely recommend if you like women's wrestling. Tony Nese versus Swerve Strickland. We're also getting Bryan Danielson versus Daniel Garcia. Yes. Dude, this is going to be another technical masterpiece. I love this announcement. We even found out for Rampage, we're going to get Ethan Page versus Leon Ruffin. I saw their match from Dark Elevation from the week after I had attended the whole Dynamite, Rampage, Dark Elevation. These two had a really good match, and I think this is going to be really good for Rampage. I want to see Leon Ruffin and what he can do. I wouldn't be surprised if they go with like the 1, 2, 3 kid type of storyline here and let Leon Ruffin get the win. He did that well last time. Matt Seidel versus Lee Moriarty in a teacher versus student type match is also going to be happening. Cool with that. Next up, we have the main event for the show. It is the Ring of Honor tag team titles. 2 out of 3 falls. The Briscoes versus FTR. Holy smokes. When I tell you that this was absolutely crazy, it was absolutely crazy. Supercard of Honor, these guys put on what I would consider a match of the year candidate. And sometimes you wonder, can lightning strike twice? And going into this, I thought if anyone could do it this year, it would be these two teams. And I damn sure will tell you guys this now. They did not disappoint here. Started off as a traditional tag team match like they did in the 80s. Like, they came out in just their usual attires. The Briscoes are just Ring of Honor legends, but FTR's run right now is one to behold, one that will be talked about, I think, for a long time. 2022 has been the year of FTR. They have just been clicking on all levels. They have just been going in, kicking ass, and putting on great matches. They know what they want to do. They've set out for what they want to do. And I really think that Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood have just been on their best ish, man. And I think the Briscoes have been too. The Briscoes have had some really good matches in Impact and GCW. The Briscoes aren't here to play around either. These are two like Mount Rushmore of this era tag teams. These are people that if you say that they're in your top tier, I got nothing but respect. Dax is on the outside getting checked out by medical team to make sure he's all right. At one point, Dax missed a big splash, and he gets hit with a doomsday device by the Briscoes. 1, 2, 3, first fall to the Briscoes. And some were wondering, is it going to be two straight? That's just a chant that they've always had because the Briscoes are kind of 2 out of 3 falls. That's like their match. And the Briscoes doomsday device, I love it. Dax sold it. This was like 20 minutes in. Like, I'm skipping a big portion of this match. This is a long match between both of these teams, but I loved it. It reminded me of the old school tag team wrestling. And like in some of my tweets yesterday, I was going in with some of the stuff I was saying. And I saw fans saying things that I was like, oh man, I just said that. And they were chanting for it, cheering for it. And I don't know, man. I just put that they were earning everyone's respect tonight, and this is tag team wrestling in all caps. And I thought a lot of people agree with me on it. I was getting some good retweets, good traction on that tweet, and I love it. So they hit the doomsday device. He's able to get up. Mark is chopping the hell out of Dax Harwood's chest on the outside. His chest began to bleed. That's how much chops. And I'm like, yeah, this is Ring of Honor, bro. The chops, they don't care. They're busting the chest open. And that's just nuts, man. They're chop. And the blood is happening. There's a brawl going on the outside. Jay Briscoe, Cash Wheeler. Jay Briscoe actually grabs the ring bell and uses it on Cash Wheeler. Cash 2 count. Cash gets up. His face is bleeding now. Mark Briscoe's bleeding now from getting thrown into the steel stairs. Blood is everywhere. This is that old school professional wrestling. I feel like the fans who like the Jim Cornettes and the old school wrestling reviewers, they're going to like this match. This match is straight out of like the 80s playbook. They just knew what they were doing here. There's blood involved. They're hitting the big tag team moves. Everything matters at this point in the match. During it, a blind tag happens with FTR, and they're able to do like this nice like slide between the legs, duck, come around. Oh, didn't see a big rig. Boom. Right on Jay Briscoe. 1, 2, 3. Jay Briscoe is pinned. We're tied up 1-1, just like we all love as pro wrestling fans. When the match feels even, this is when you do it. So now both teams are tied at 1 fall apiece. We got fans chanting ROH, 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 and we haven't heard that where it sounds like they meant it in so long, and it felt good to hear that, in my opinion. That we also had chants of Fight Forever. Hopefully we get some video game news soon out of all this, because that's what their video game is going to be called, AEW Fight Forever. But we get that chant at the Ring of Honor show as well. And here we go. Referee Paul Turner accidentally gets decked by Dax Harwood. He goes down. Jay Driller onto Dax, but there's no one to count. Me and I watched this with Donnie. Shout out to Donnie. We're both like, there's no one there. What's going to happen? And we were like, here comes the foolery. Here it comes. There's no ref to count. Briscoes go for another doomsday device, but he gets blocked. Jay Briscoe is here, and it gets stopped. We see a beautiful, like, he gets caught and then nailed with another big rig as he did a springboard off the middle rope, getting thrown into the turnbuckle. He's down. They throw the ref in. There's no referee to count, and it's 1-2 kick out. Unbelievable. The fans are going crazy. They're going nuts. Dax is hit with another doomsday device. 1-2, and they're real close to the ropes, but not close enough for him to put his foot out. And Cash Wheeler saves the day by just jumping in and punching Jay Briscoe right in the face as he was like left wide open as he went for the pin. And Cash saves him. Things start getting crazy in the ring. Everybody's fighting and brawling. And Mark Briscoe goes to climb the top rope to jump into the ring when Cash Wheeler, Dax is yelling like, "Get him, Cash, get him." And Cash cuts him off, and he does a back suplex through the table that was on the outside that was going to be used during the Lethal Samoa Joe match. Nobody thought about it again. And boom, both guys go crashing through that table. Woo, pretty scary stuff right there, but they made it through it. So he's down. Who knows what's going to happen? Jay Briscoe attempts to go for the Jay Driller again. It gets blocked. I don't know what happens here, but Jay Driller is blocked. Jay Driller is hit, on Dax Harwood, and we only get a 2 count that happens from there. And apparently Bixby wants to talk for me. And 2 count right there. Dax catches Jay Briscoe with a second rope pile driver. He did a pile driver off the second rope. The people went ape shit for this. Like, they went banana. And pile driver, the way they fell, like, Dax wasn't even fully on him, but his legs were on him for the cover. 1, 2, 3, bro, we popped like crazy. That was an amazing finish. A pile driver from the second rope is no joke. Like, I don't know how they pulled that off so safely, but Dax Harwood did it. Like I said, hell of a year for FTR. They are still your Ring of Honor tag team champions. This match was well built. The Briscoes were not there to build this up. I don't know if people understand that they weren't being used. They weren't allowed to like do too much within there. It was good, man. It was really good. I thought this was great. And is this better than the first one? I think that's for you to decide. That's a preference thing. Some people are going to like it more. Some people aren't. So good, man. So good. Even in the media scrum, I thought FTR left it all out there. And I did love the fact that like Dax Harwood made it okay to be a wrestling fan. Call him a effing mark. Call him what you want. He loves professional wrestling. And I thought that was a really good thing for him to say. I'm sure as wrestling fans, if you're listening to this, we're really hardcore into wrestling. And it's okay to be into wrestling, man. It's not a bad thing. If that's your thing, do your thing, man. You know, I'm not saying this is the only thing you do. For most of us, it's definitely not. But if you love it, man. If it's good for you, let it be good for you. All right. If it's not causing you problems and heartaches and stuff, love pro wrestling. Following that promo, FTR invite Briscoes into the ring. They shake hands. They follow the honor code, which I thought was really good to show on this show. Following, though, the promo, the Blackpool Combat Club showed up. And yeah, I really thought that this was good. I thought that seeing Claudio and Yuta on the stage looking at FTR, this is a big matchup that could happen later on down the line. Maybe at Battle of the Belts. Maybe it's one for a Dynamite or Rampage. Or maybe it's the first match they do when they kick off a new Ring of Honor show. No announcements were really made going towards that. I'm just looking over the media scrum notes right now. Khan suggested that we could see more after ROH gets a television deal with some integration that would be happening. And he also mentioned that New Japan Pro wrestlers would also he'd be interested in having them compete in ROH again. Khan brought up that ROH and Warner Brothers Discovery worked together via Bleacher Report for this show. So yeah, there's things are on the rise. Some things haven't happened yet, but he he's made some moves so far in what he wants to do. He didn't comment on the contract status of some people like Dalton Castle and the boys, but he said that he liked their match. Briscoes, we know Briscoe signed long-term contracts. We found that out on the media call before Death Before Dishonor. So the Briscoes are exclusive to Ring of Honor. Good for them. Briscoes deserve the bag. They've been ROH since day one, and I think they're going to hold it down. But listen, everybody. This is Ring of Honor. Are you excited for the new Ring of Honor? Do you have hope for the new Ring of Honor? Let us know, and we are going to continue talking about it. I hope you guys all enjoyed this audio version of Everything Pro Wrestling. Be sure to go to the YouTube channel tomorrow to check out me and Sean as we get ready to review Ric Flair's career retrospective part 2. And we'll even set up and talk about the last match show that they're putting on SummerSlam weekend. Can't wait to hear what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for listening to Everything Pro Wrestling. Talk about Ring of Honor, Death Before Dishonor 2022 review.
Everyday pro wrestling, they can never be you. Listen to the podcast for the people, the best show that's here, so listen in. Let the knowledge begin, the opinions, the lesson, yes. By the fans, for the fans, not many in this can understand, this the podcast to show you who I am, Conrad Cushman, the legend in the plans, please listen every day to the showcase, the opinions and knowledge that anyone can take, showing you how it is done, proving I am number one, what a legend becomes. This is now my time to show you that I am here. This podcast just to make it loud and clear. By the fans, for the fans, not many who's here can understand everything pro wrestling, they can never be you. Listen to the podcast here for the people, the best show that's here, so listen in. Let the knowledge begin, the opinion and the lesson, yes. Everyday pro wrestling, they can never be you. Listen to the podcast for the people, the best show that's here, so listen in. Let the knowledge begin, the opinions, the lesson, yes.